This conference will now be recorded.
Seconds. You're live.
Good evening, everyone. This is the October 11, 2023 meeting of the Auburn Conservation Commission. Right now, we are lacking a quorum, so I'm going to make a phone call and see if we can get a fourth member.
Yeah. And those two, that one, and this one. We're all on. We're on the boat. We're on the boat.
Wonderful. Okay. So, we are short a member. When in instances like this, we usually try to allow some extra time. Someone may be coming in late. I did have two members indicate they would not be available tonight, so we need one more. And then, assuming this person comes, then we can proceed. If they don't come, then we will not be able to because we need 4 people to have a quorum. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Do we even need a motion to adjourn?
No.
All right, so can we just go off the record for the time being?
Yes.
Thank you.
You want to go off the sign?
Yeah, just you.
a message for one board member. The other board member, I called him, but his voicemail box is full, so I can't leave a message for him. I also sent emails to both of them, and all I can do is apologize to you.
That's fine.
Because I know, well,
Fine.
I mean, Mr. Walsh may have some, I hope he didn't drive down from Maine for this.
Oh, okay, no worries.
All right. So we'll take that as he did.
Wow.
That's a yes. Wow, this is, so it's, okay, back.
So what I'll do is, I will, you know, I will give kudos to Megan and Chris, and I will yell at the others. I won't yell at them, but I'll just send them, a, you know,
You'll yell
I'll send them an email. And, because, you know, these meetings, you need a quorum, otherwise you can't get anything done, so.
And you can do them from Zoom, from Crete, as I did.
I understand. I heard.
Yeah, but I mean, actually called in to do one from
Uh-huh.
while I was away.
How-
So, yeah, there's almost,
many hours?
obviously you can do it anywhere.
So Crete, that's what, like 6 hours ahead?
7.
So if a meeting takes place at 7, you did it like 2 in the morning?
Anything for my clients, anything for my clients.
Crete, Italy. Greece.
No,
Crete,
Greece.
Greece. Yes.
So, wow, I'm impressed.
I had 2 hearings in a week from California. Unfortunately, because of the change in time, it fell right at happy hour.
3 hour, that 3 hour
I
difference.
feel your
Got in a
pain.
couple drinks,
Yeah, I know.
went well.
So anyway, unfortunately, we don't have a quorum. I reached out to the absent members by email and also by telephone, and I have not received a response. And I don't believe, since they have not come to the meeting, that they will be attending. Hello, please hold. Wait, that may change. Okay, so I just heard from Michelle Colrose, and she can call in. So, okay, just give me a moment. Now, we won't be able to see her, but she will be able to hear and participate in the meeting.
Does she have to go to the meeting link on the phone?
I don't know. I guess the question is, will she be able, will we hear her?
Yeah, if she can go to a meeting, she'll hear you and we'll hear her.
Okay,
And
Otherwise,
she can just call in.
yeah,
that's what she's doing,
Yeah.
she's going in to go to a meeting.
Yeah, as long as she has that access code, she should be fine.
and that's what I'm giving her.
Yeah.
So I don't think anyone's ever done that. People obviously have joined us by Zoom. I don't know that anyone's ever phoned in directly. So will that show up on our, on the laptop?
I'm not sure.
I think
I
it
guess
does.
we'll find out.
I would think so.
It does.
Okay. Well, folks, hold on. Hey, so I sent you the phone number for GoToMeeting and also, okay. All right, great, thank you. Okay. She says she's calling in now.
It'll show up on that one.
Okay. And how will it appear?
Just you'll have to let them in with the mouse. Just like the way we practice.
What's that?
Nice.
Is it the icon with the person at the top?
No, that's
That's
us.
just whoever.
Okay.
Two
I
people.
think it would, yeah, because we only have.
All right.
What was the ID you gave her?
408-650-3123.
No, it's 942-845-549.
Oh. Hi. Hi. Were you able to get on? Oh. All right. Thanks. So that's the dial-in number, and then I gave her the access code.
The 942.
942-845-549.
Okay.
But I think in order to access the meeting, she has to dial 408 first. So I gave her both of those numbers. She's going to try again. You know, what I could do, I suppose, is I could just call her back and put her on speaker.
Yeah.
I don't know how good the fidelity's going to be.
Oh,
It's working for me, so it should.
Okay.
Sorry to get everyone's hopes up, but it is functioning.
So if you can hear that,
wait.
I'm
It
in.
is there.
There she is.
Okay, perfect.
Michelle, is that you?
It's me.
Okay. Can you hear us all right?
I can.
Outstanding. Okay, so let's begin if we can. So, again, this is the October 11, 2023 meeting of the Auburn Conservation Commission. This meeting is being operated as a hybrid format under Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022. The public can join the meeting remotely by dialing 408-650-3123 and then using access code 942-845-549, or you can join via computer at global.gotomeeting.com/join/942-845-549. So materials for tonight's meeting have been provided to the commissioners and they're available on the town's website. And the public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. My name is Michael Garland. I'm chairman of the Conservation Commission. And permit me to confirm the members participating tonight, our president can hear me. So when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Megan Langley.
Here.
Chris Carey.
Here.
Michelle Colross.
Here.
Jesse Averka.
Here.
Okay. Please also note that this meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. So, with those matters established, the first item on tonight's agenda is 7 p.m. public hearing, continuance of a public hearing, notice of intent for property at 7 Marion Avenue to install a water pipe or a pipe for a new water service. Is there a motion open?
I make a motion, we open the public hearing.
Is there a second?
A second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, so vote. Mr. Bellick, can you state your name, please, and who you're here on behalf of?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Wayne Bellick, Land Design Collaborative, here on behalf of Catherine Rossman, who is the owner and resident at 7 Marion Ave. So, first of all, Mr. Chairman, thank you again for your efforts to pull together a quorum, and I know it's never easy when trying to do so, so much appreciated. I also wanted to give a shout out, if I could, to Jesse here. As the commission knows, there was a filing made by Little Diggers Construction, the applicant. We got called in, Land Design Collaborative got called in to provide engineering services for Catherine and her husband Al for the project. And Jesse has gone above and beyond, I would say, with the work that he's done here. Most notably, working on the filing fees for the project, and just helping out however he could to get us to the point we're at now. So we were contacted a couple of weeks ago by Catherine, who indicated they needed an engineer to work on the project. So we had, I had gone out on the following weekend, had done a limited topographic survey to determine some elevations in the basement, foundation, point at which the drain from the house would daylight. Just for clarification, the scope of work within the filing is actually a few things. If you could, Jesse, fire up the plan.
Yeah, sure.
So the scope of work entails, there you go, thank you.
Yeah.
So when Catherine was looking to have this work done, we discussed it. Again, she's a friend, Director Butter. I told her, I said, you know, a lot of times what we advise clients of is whenever they have water in the basement, let's start with the rooftop runoff. And what I observed out there, Mr. Chairman, was that the rooftop downspouts were going directly to the ground. A lot of times what happens when that happens is that you're just feeding the groundwater. Whatever doesn't run off goes into the ground, and you're feeding the groundwater. So, and I know this, I had the same situation at my house. We advise clients, take a look at that first, put a pipe in, see if you can mitigate it that way. If it takes off a bit of the hit, that's some of your problem. I suggested that to her, and I also suggested looking at some remediation in the basement. So it was then she had contracted Little Diggers to take the rooftop runoff, put it into downspouts, and then through a pipe along the front of the house and along the west side of the house. So north, for the purposes of this plan, is directly up the sheet. So along the southerly side of the house, the front, and then along the westerly side of the house, collected the downspouts and discharged them out in the back on her property, and where I discharged it to. If you could, Adam, zoom into, Adam, Jesse, zoom into that, the outlet. Yeah, so to that area, over to the rooftop runoff. There you go. So what I had done there, Mr. Chairman, is I could have let it come out at grade, but, you know, and I could have had a slotted drain at the end of it. But I wanted to keep it down low in the lawn, at the edge of the lawn, so she could mow over it. So what I proposed in that situation was a slotted drain, or one of the NDS drains that you can get at Home Depot for like $30. Perforations in the bottom of the drain with some stone, and that would serve as the overflow, so that when the water comes down through the downspouts, comes out to that area, there's enough gravity or enough grade in that area to cause it to just come out the top and be flush with grade. The other situation was pretty interesting. That was a little bit more challenging. You know, as engineers, we like to avoid mechanical systems, and I tried to do that here. However, what I had done is, as part of my limited topographic survey, I had gone out to the lot, shot the elevation of the top of the foundation, grades around the house, the elevations of the existing. If you could, Jesse, pan to the left over to the rear left part of her property. There you go. North.
Oh, okay.
There you go. So there we have a flared end. It's a 36-inch HDPE high-density polyethylene corrugated pipe, along with a 2-inch water pipe. It's a polyethylene pipe. So that was installed years ago by the Auburn Highway Department, now the DPW. And as part of the installation of that, Bill had installed the force main for the sump pump in the basement. So historically, like all the houses in that area, the hydrologic soil group in this area is hydrologic soil group D, and as you folks know, that's a horribly draining soil. It used to be an old farm. They rerouted a stream eons ago in that area. And so what they had done is, in some parts of the site, they left the soil. Other areas, they put in some of the Hinkley soils off the hill to the west, which are well-draining soils. They brought it, pushed it down below. So if you dig a foot down or so, the soils are great. However, when you get deeper into the ground, you can find that those Woodbridge soils. So with that, I looked at it and I said, okay, so the infiltration, that's part of the problem why we're getting what we're getting in the basement. I took some photos, which I included is the supplemental information to the Little Diggers filing, along with the plan. And as you can see in those photos of the basement, there was standing water in there a week and a half ago.
I can pull those up if
Yeah.
everyone wants to take a look.
Yeah, it was, you know, and this is something that they've lived with for a while. Very frustrating. There's a new oil tank there, which will help to address one of the comments raised by DEP. But there's standing water. It's horrible. And the sump pump goes on, I would say, every 10-15 minutes throughout the winter, and in the summer, all summer it's been going. So I think this is a project that needs to get done. So what they hired Little Diggers to do, if we could go back to the plan, Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So right here, like I said, this is the existing information in terms of the inverts of the pipes. So knowing the area very well, what I've noticed is that in the less frequent storms, you know, you're 25, you're 50, some people say you're 100. We haven't, as far as I know, in this town of Auburn, we haven't seen one of those yet. But in looking at these storm events, what I've noticed is the pipe, typically that 36-inch pipe, is designed to flow typically half full. I've seen it flow all of 2/3 full and then some. So with that said, looking at the invert elevation, Jesse, if you could pan up a little bit so I can see the invert elevation call out. So that invert is at about a 530.6 on that flat end section. The invert elevation on the force main is at a 532.8. That just so happens to be about the same elevation of the basement floor, based on the top foundation, measuring down the wall and determining the slab elevation. I said, okay, so we're at 532.8. I went to the bottom of the footing for the foundation drain. By the time I daylight the foundation drain out to that location, Jesse, if you could go out to, so it would have come out somewhere, if I recall, like a 531 and change, just like a 531.2, 531.4. So coming out at that elevation, it would have been submerged in the tailwater of any activity, of any storm event that was going on when we were experiencing tailwater in the flared end. That would only exponentially exacerbate the situation in the basement. So had we flowed gravity to that location, when that area surcharges, it's going to back water up through the pipe that would have been put in the ground and come up into the basement. The plan is originally submitted by the sketch that was originally submitted by Little Diggers, was looking at a gravity system. You know, in looking at it, I guess if you didn't know the history of how that pipe functions or how hydraulics, when pipes are designed, they're designed to flow half full or 2/3 full. If you didn't know that, then you'd probably site it at that location. Well, having known that, I said, well, obviously it's going to have to be a pump system, something I don't like doing, but in order to rid themselves of the situation, they have to do. Jesse, if you could go back over to the foundation, please. So what they are proposing is along the front where you see the FD, the bold line, that's the foundation drain. So they're going to excavate the front of the house down to that point at the bottom of footing. They're going to put in the foundation, wrap it in a filter sock or Marafi fabric, and then put 3/4 inch to 1.5 inch wash stone with a Marafi liner up the sidewall to prevent any silt from making it into the stone, and that will serve as their foundation drain. That'll come up to within about 6 inches of finished grade. That will flow from that elevation at a 0.5%. I could have put it in flat, but what I wanted to do is just get it the heck out of there. So I ran it at 0.5% from over by the garage at the 533.5 all the way over to that structure, the circular structure, which has got a drain manhole. It's going to be a cast iron drain manhole, only because of the depth of the structure. And so what it is it's a pump chamber. So they would have a pump chamber, a pump located at the bottom of that pit. I have a 3-foot sump in there so that the water will flow from through the foundation drain into the pump chamber, drop down into the 3-foot sump, from where, once it fills 3 feet, it's going to get ejected out to the riprap apron out back. I considered, so that the other way I could have done this, Mr. Chairman, is rather than go with a 3-foot sump in there, I could have just gone in, left it in the bottom of the pit, no sump. But what would have happened was whenever it started to fill up, it would have backed up again back into the house, and it would have been coming on every 15 minutes. My objective here is to minimize the cycles on this thing. Looking at, you know, pumps that overwork themselves, they tend to burn out. They point along the pump curve. Obviously, when we look at this, I'll recommend to them a pump that will hit the sweet spot of the curve and probably pump, hopefully, every couple hours to 3 hours. So the way this is designed is, Jesse, if you could scoot out to the detail sheet.
Yeah, sure. What are you looking for specifically?
Yeah, so actually, if you want to zoom out totally in the detail sheet, and I can tell you what we're going to do for erosion sediment control measures. So if I could, again, I failed to get into the total scope of the project. So it's a few things. There is a water pipe. She's looking to have the water service to the house replaced. She's looking to have the foundation drain situation addressed, rooftop runoff redirected underground, and she's looking to have her front walk redone and the front steps. So it's a little bit more than a new water service to the house. So all of this work is being done upgrading of the proper erosion and sediment control measures. So now that we're into the full scope, and I don't mean to keep doing this to you, Jess, if you wouldn't mind going back to the plan, so I can show you the erosion and sediment control. So to the front, Jesse, if you could. So in the front, what we're proposing is, because they're doing work, as you can see the contours from the house over near the step pitch out to the street into the driveway. Because of that, we'd need to intercept any sediment or sediment-laden waters that would move across the lawn out onto the pavement. So what I propose there is a straw wattle to be staked in that location. And then over to the east of that, Jesse, I have proposed in that catch basin an inlet sediment trap. I'm sure you folks have seen those before. So basically what will happen is anything that makes its way down the driveway that would get into that catch basin will be caught in the trap, and they would have to maintain that along with their other erosion sediment control measures as construction is occurring. So typically on a project, we would propose an anti-tracking pad on a site. If this was a subdivision or a site plan, we certainly would have all those bells and whistles in place. However, due to the scale of the project and knowing that it is a single-family house, the machinery is going up the driveway, is part of the order of conditions. If the commission would like to include sweeping of the site after each workday, would be happy with that. But I didn't see any reason to propose cutting out the driveway and putting an anti-tracking pad in. So with that said, if we could work our way toward along this erosion sediment control measures here, Jesse. So the erosion sediment control measures work their way along the westerly portion of the limit of work northerly around. She's got a Japanese maple there, so it'll work around the Japanese maple, which is to be maintained and protected. Her husband has a couple of sumac trees that he planted out there. She would love to see them nuked, but we're going to maintain and protect those. So they do continue, the erosion sediment control measures do continue out to the rear property line. All the work is being proposed upgradient of the erosion sediment control measures. I did see there was a comment by DEP that made reference that all work should be proposed upgradient of them. I'm not sure if they saw that the flared end section out in the wetland, they may have interpreted that as being part of the scope, and it is not. So all the work is proposed upgradient of erosion sediment control measures. So Jesse, if we could go back to that pit detail.
Yeah, sure.
So a couple of things when I was looking at this. I looked at the approximate wetland elevation out there, and if I recall, it seemed to hover around the 532 elevation. If you look at the limits of the resource area and the vegetation based on my measurements, it looks like it hovers around elevation 532. So I said, okay, if I propose a leach pit that goes all the way down to the bottom of the sump, what they're going to be doing is it'll be lower. It's actually at elevation 528. The wetlands at 532. I doubt there's going to be much migration through those types of soils laterally with the wetlands, the hydrology to the wetlands, but I didn't want to risk it, so I said, okay, we're going to make that lower section of this structure solid. It's going to be a solid concrete base, monolithic base, so that from elevation 528, which is going to be where the pump sits, up to about 532 and a half, there are no perforations in the structure. Beginning at 532 and a half, upward, there are perforations. And what will happen here is any groundwater in that general elevation is going to flow not only into the foundation drain, perforated drain, but within this leach chamber. So it's basically a leach chamber. And then it will be pumped out to the discharge point, which would be 6-inch minus riprap on the edge of the lawn. I did look at the area and I said I could have taken it further out where Bill Coyle had taken his discharges, but they weren't on their property. Those were on Mark Hume's property. Being the engineers on the project, unless she has an easement from Mark, which I know she doesn't, we wouldn't be doing that.
Understood. I have a question.
Yes.
What about maintenance of the sump pump?
So that's on the homeowner.
Clearly, but the question is, what's a reasonable maintenance schedule for that?
So like any sump,
And how does the homeowner do it?
so basically they would remove like any sump pump, like the one I have in my basement. I'd remove the sump pump. I would hope that when it's installed, they would put some fittings on there, some breakaway fittings, so that if there has to be removed, that structure, Mr. Chairman, is an 8-foot deep structure, 8 to 9 foot deep structure. That's the real baby.
Right.
And so there's a polyethylene
I mean, is there a ladder? Is there a ladder going down into it?
Yep, right along the sidewall of the structure. Typical manhole, so it would go right down the sidewall of the structure. They get down into the structure, remove the pump, and replace it.
Okay. And has Little Diggers been provided with a copy of this?
They have.
Okay. And are you confident that they will follow the plan as you proposed it?
I love the question, Mr. Chairman. I love the question.
You know, you don't, you know.
I will answer it.
I'm not asking you to guarantee their work, but,
No.
I mean, as you know, when they came before us the first time, they gave us this.
Yep.
And which did not instill confidence in any of us. And so, you know, I think your plan is what should have been submitted originally. I just want to make sure that the work, that they comply with the plan that you have provided.
And again, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate that question. As I said when I introduced Catherine, she's also a friend. So I want to make sure that she gets a fair deal here. And that's why I got involved, was just to make sure that it was going to get done right. Now, with what Little Diggers had done originally with their design, had they, because they didn't know of the backwater situation,
It would have failed.
it would have failed.
Right.
But I think if you don't really know much about hydraulics and how pipes operate, you wouldn't know. So that's where we are. So to answer your question, I did indicate to Jess that I would, once the erosion sediment, I think it's important to have a pre-construction meeting, which I would be happy to be at, and discuss what is expected of them. And once the erosion sediment control measures are installed, I will go out there, I'll inspect them to make sure that the siltation fence is properly entrenched, embedded, and that everything's properly staked.
Okay.
I'll also make sure that that inlet sediment trap is properly installed. I've seen sometimes they haven't properly installed them, and it's frustrating, so.
And LDC will provide us with an as-built plan after the work
We
is done?
will.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. Any questions? Megan? Chris?
No.
Michelle, any questions?
Nope.
Okay. Any questions from the audience?
I do. I have one question just regarding this email that came in from DEP, and forgive me for not fully understanding this, but
Yeah.
so it says issuance of a file number indicates only completeness of submittal, not approval of application. So if you guys were to close the hearing and issue something, then are you still waiting on DEP to actually approve the project, or?
Well, actually, what
No.
I was going to say is this. I think since they did have comments, and I think since Mr. Bellick, I think is certainly capable of responding to the comments, that he should respond to the comments. And then once they are satisfied with his answers, then I think at that point, we can close the public hearing. So,
That
I
makes
mean,
sense. Yeah.
my feeling is that, you know, I think we've made a lot of progress since the last time, but I don't think we're at a point where we can close the public hearing.
So if I could, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
My experience on that is that I would respond to their comments through Jesse, and then Jesse would forward the comments. What I was told by the department on a recent filing within the past year is that it was a controversial filing, that there were a number of comments which were really of no substance in the end. But I responded to them, and they said that the responses should be directed to the commission. So with that, what I'd like to do, I can do that, I can put something in writing on letterhead, responding to the comments. But if I could, I'd like to read the comments for the public, if that's okay, and express quickly how we're looking to address it. Because,
Okay, but
Can I say real quick too?
I'm sorry, Michelle, can you repeat that?
Can I just interject real quick?
I didn't understand
We're-
the question.
Interject. She wants
Oh,
to-
please, of course.
Can we? Yeah, I I'm going to have to review everything that he just said because he's been talking for the last 25 minutes. I'm standing in a ladies' room at an event. I am going to have to look at like everything that he just said before we vote on anything because I'm not voting on anything until I look at it again. So,
I think that's fair, Michelle.
okay, because
There's your concern.
that's not going to happen. It's been 25 minutes that he's been talking, and I get it, and I've listened, but I'm not voting on anything until I actually look at that.
Okay.
So,
Okay, that's,
Well-
again, that's fine. I would never, I wouldn't
Okay.
expect you to.
All right.
So having said
Okay.
that, I think, I mean, in terms of how you want to respond, if you want to respond and then submit your comments through Jesse and then we'll
Yeah.
forward those to DEP, we're happy to do that.
That'll work.
But will you agree to continue the public hearing for 2 weeks?
We will.
Okay. Can I have a motion to that effect, please?
I make a motion that we continue the public hearing till our next meeting in 2 weeks
October 25th.
until October 25th.
Is there anything on at 7 PM right now?
No, that would be the 7 p.m.
Okay, so at 7 PM. Okay. Okay, there's a motion from Megan. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
aye.
Okay, it's a vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you for all the participants, much
Apologies for
appreciated.
waiting, but thank you for coming.
Thank you. Have a good night, folks.
You
Stay out of
too.
trouble,
Well,
stay healthy.
I'm sure I'll
Avoid
talk to you
COVID,
tomorrow.
it's out there again.
Right, good. Okay.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is 7:05 public hearing. Michael Walsh of Walsh Engineering. A notice of intent for prop.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for the opportunity to meet.
Thanks for waiting.
Did you have
Yes, I do, yeah.
these? So my name is Mike Walsh with Walsh Engineering Associates. And here to represent Casella Waste Systems and with their facility at 15 Harvard Scrabble Road, as you probably know. Just give me what's up here.
We are very familiar with the site.
Yes, I'll describe the project in general, if that pleases the commission.
If you'd like to, you can also, if you want to take over, you can feel free, and they'll point out as you go what you're...
Thank you. So this is a view of the facility, the site plan. I believe this is C 1.0. What the overall project is a fairly small, narrow in scope. It's a storage area for municipal solid waste and transfers it to truck for off-site disposal. But they also take in recyclables, single-stream recyclables for processing, sorting and segregating, and then baling. One of the things they found is, unfortunately, the need to store outside at times because of delays in shipping, mostly trucking. So what this will be, there is an existing pad on site. So if you, in the center of the site, you'll see it here. It is a approximately 60,000 square foot warehouse, industrial building. In the front area here is an office space, just over 3,000 square feet. At the nearest Hardscrabble Road is a detention pond. And the site receives traffic that comes in. One entrance, which is on, if you look at it from left to right, right is north and left I'll consider south. But coming in through this entrance, one-way traffic and goes over truck scales and tips or offloads in a series of overhead doors here. For recyclables, which is what we're talking about here, it is processed in this general area of the facility. And they store the majority of those indoors in the warehouse here. But there is an area here that sits in the center of the site, which is a concrete slab. It's existing. What we're proposing to do is reconstruct that slab with minor modifications in its dimensions, and install a roof system over it to cover the bales. It'll also provide fire protection. There'll be a dry system to protect it, and is designed for that purpose. It's, like I said, it is currently impervious. It is within the middle of the facility. It's a combination of concrete and existing concrete slab and pavement. And adjacent to it is paved area throughout, including a loading dock here where the majority of bales are shipped off-site. I'll move on unless anybody has any questions specifically about the facility.
No, go
In
ahead.
general. This shows a similar figure, shows essentially the removals and the erosion controls on C 2.0. A little difficult to see, but the red identifies erosion control. Those are silt socks that we've positioned at the down gradient side of the work area. So that heavy dash line essentially is the perimeter of the work area. And there is a pretty steady slope. You don't have the contours here, but the slope goes in the directions towards the detention pond. In fact, all drainage from this area kind of splits in the middle. A portion of it goes to this catch basin on this side, and then a portion of it drains in this direction to a catch basin that's closer to the truck scale. That drainage all goes through their existing system. There's a sediment device here called a Clara unit, sort of an oil water separator and a separation unit. Drains through that catch basin and works its way to a 12,000 gallon underground oil water separator before it goes in the catch basin and discharges off-site and eventually across Hardscrabble Road. So that's, in general, the footprint of work and the extent of it. There's also a potential, given there's some excavation for the footings and walls for the system. It's segregated into 3 separate sections of concrete slab, as I mentioned, step down. So there will be some excavation and likely some excess soils that will need to be managed off-site, as well as the demoed slab area that's going to be replaced in kind, with minor differences.
I'm curious, why can't you use the existing slab? It won't bear the weight?
Well, it's in poor condition. It's okay, but the bigger issue is that these bales are uniform in size. They're 4 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot. So those slabs are just in different widths, and so they're not efficient at stacking these and being able to dedicate a bay without any excess space.
Okay.
It's just a tighter fit.
How many square yards of concrete are we talking about?
I don't know the square yards. It's an 8-inch slab. It's just under 3,000 square feet, I believe, in total.
Okay. So excavate, and will the slab be poured in one pour, a few pours?
I believe the slab would be placed in one event.
Okay.
It's not a large area,
Uh-huh.
and the foundation walls extend above grade, to provide a barrier between the bays, if you want to call them bays, and there'll be protective steel on the sides just to prevent movement and just protect the structural steel itself.
So what do you think, what's the estimated duration of the project?
I'd say 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
That's what we anticipate.
Okay. Yeah, some of us more than others are very familiar with this site because we've done a number of site walks there. I think it's very straightforward. I don't have any questions. Megan, any questions?
No.
Chris?
Sounds good to me.
Just for background, if I can interject, I think there's benefits. There's benefits to stormwater here, right? The struggle of having to place bales outside and cover them can be dangerous. It's just not very effective, to be honest with you.
Sure.
And then the safety part of it, the fire department's concerned, right, about these bales, if they do happen to catch on fire, the danger that they present. So
Sure.
it'll be obvious.
Michelle, do you have any questions? I think we lost her.
Nope, I'm good.
All right, thank you.
Nope.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know that a site visit's gonna be particularly illuminating. But I'll certainly defer to the commission on that. Thoughts?
I'm not familiar with the site, being fairly new to the commission, but
Okay. Well, then maybe you should see it.
I was gonna say that, suggest that, is that maybe I just take it on myself and go by, take a few pictures and analyze them myself, but
Sure.
if any questions come up, I'll let you know, Mike.
We can certainly do that.
Cool.
Mr. Walsh, any objections to continuing the public hearing? Our next meeting will be October 25th.
Okay.
Is that agreeable?
Yes.
Okay. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to continue till October 25th.
At 7:05?
Yes.
Jesse? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Just a question, if, is this a site that's, Chris said that he wanted to go visit, is this accessible by this area by foot, or is it?
Oh, yeah, by cart.
Like a car? I didn't know if it was gated or,
No, I'm not aware of that.
It is gated when it's not operational,
okay.
but there is access. Just know that it is one way, and it's the northern entrance that you come in, you pass the exit, believe it or not, and it's on your left-hand side.
And you're okay with me coming by to just take a look and just get a feel for the site?
Yeah, unfortunately, Paul Daly, their general manager, is ill, so he's been out a few days, so he's not available to speak. But I'm sure we can coordinate with him.
I'm sure I can talk to Holly and handles the solid waste and works with Casella closely, so I'm sure I can talk to her and figure
That'd be
out,
great.
just give them a heads
I
up.
appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a scheduling conflict for this weekend, but we can certainly do it the following weekend. So, if that's agreeable to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Mr. Walsh, what we'll do is we'll get in touch about a sidewalk. It wouldn't take very long. I don't even think you have to be there.
Okay.
Unless you have other business that you have. 'Cause I know it. How far is it for you to get back?
About 2 hours and 15 minutes without traffic, but, 495.
I understand. Okay, all right, well, if, we'll make arrangements to do a sidewalk. As I said, I'm not sure it's necessary for you to be there. Okay? And so we'll see you again on October 25th. If you want to do it by Zoom, that's fine. And thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate your determination to get the meeting.
Okay, anytime.
And did we actually vote on continuing it?
Yeah.
Chris?
Because I said I wanted to discuss.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Okay, it's a vote. All right, thanks again.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks, Megan. I'll send you the Zoom details tomorrow in case you want to do that on the 25th, if you're not in our neck of the woods.
It might be a lot easier.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, for other business, Mr. Gigante has been very patient in waiting for us to act on a determination of applicability for 25 Shore Drive. I think we closed the public hearing the last time. So, having said that, is there a motion regarding determination of applicability for 25 Shore Drive? Bueller?
Make a motion.
So there's either one or the other.
yeah, I'm sorry, I left my materials from it.
This is
and it's
the
like-
water line.
I can
that's
pull
gonna
up
be-
the-
Or the gas line
if
that's
you
gonna
want
be
a
on the
refresher,
shore.
yeah.
Okay.
Very similar to the other Shore Drive project that we had.
I moved to do a negative determination for Shore Drive.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion from Michelle for a negative determination for 25 Shore Drive. Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Sounded like Darth Vader.
Michelle, we didn't hear you. I think that was an aye.
I heard aye.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
yeah.
It's a vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in my car, like literally, like I'm trying my best right now. Like I am, like trying my best.
I know, and we appreciate that. We really do.
Doing great.
So we'll try to zip through the others, okay? We don't want you to get into an accident or anything. So we had received a request for.
Yeah, my car is so
We had received a request for a certificate of compliance for 65 Chestnut Avenue. We did take a view a few weeks ago. Is there a motion for 65 Chestnut Ave?
Motion for certificate of
To
compliance.
issue the certificate of
Issue
compliance.
the certificate of compliance for 65 Chestnut Avenue.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 It's a vote. Okay. For 54 Prospect Street, we have also taken a view. Mr. Grabowski was kind enough to meet us there.
I don't know if you
Um,
have
Thank you.
pictures that Glenn brought. I've got them online too.
Okay, so
Appreciate it.
when we were there, we had noted some concerns about the channel, which apparently you have addressed.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
We brought a laborer in, if I can speak, if you
please,
choose.
of course, please.
Brought in the laborer, and I was the second laborer, and we did stone line it. It explains the size of the stone. Then we brought in some half-inch stone to put in, to have in between. Took out nearly 3 buckets of sand over there where the wattle is. Did make an explanation on this email also that if the commission chooses to give us the certificate, we will guarantee that within 2 weeks, the erosion controls would be out as the buyer wants them out, and the seller is obligated to take them out.
Okay. So anyway, I see that based on our site walk, it looks like the channel has been stabilized as per Mr. Grabowski. So having said that, is there a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 54 Prospect Street?
Motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 54 Prospect.
Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, it's a vote.
Well, thank you for your time, and thank you again, as everyone did, to pull this together. We thank you, Michelle, for coming in during your event. Thank you again, everybody.
Thanks,
We
man.
appreciate it
Thank you.
very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good evening.
The next item is a certificate of compliance request for 410/411 Leicester Street. We went to the site a few weeks ago. Is there a motion?
Who went to that one?
I did. And were you there?
I don't think I was at that one, no.
I was
Michelle,
not
were you-
there.
were you there? Tom?
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to say that again. Didn't hear you.
Okay, so when we went to 410/411 Leicester Street, it was me, Tom, and Catherine. So, rather than take my word for it, let's continue.
No, I went to,
You were there, right?
yes, I was there.
Yeah, you were there, because I remember we talked about, I guess
We met the new owner.
right. So, based on our observations, Michelle, do you think we should issue a certificate of compliance?
Okay. I finally just got to my house, so that's the good news. Just give me a quick recap. What are we issuing? Yes, the certificate of compliance was for the
410/411
septic
Leicester
system?
Street. Remember it
Yes,
had the hill, and there was the adjacent property where they installed the septic system?
yes. I say we issue the certificate of compliance, yes.
Is that your motion?
Yes,
Okay.
that is my motion.
All right, is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. Now, 23 Brook Street, when did we get that request?
So they had sent me a copy of the as-built.
Okay.
but they didn't get in an actual request until recently, and so then I just threw it in the packet.
So we haven't been out to the property.
No, we've not been out to the
All right,
property.
so why don't we continue that to October 25th?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll kind of skip over George Street for the time being.
Yeah, that's fine.
For 25 Vinyl Street, I sent a letter to, or I prepared a letter to go to the owner of the property, telling him that he has to submit a request for determination of applicability. My understanding, independently from Jesse, is that in fact he's in the process of doing that. So we will continue that generally. For 16 George Street, what is that on for?
So that's the wood chips with the whole
Oh,
dumping
yeah.
from Skyhook.
And my understanding is that that has been taken care of, or is there still an issue with the
So I'm
chips?
still waiting for them to go, and actually they did pull them back from the wetlands, as I believe we discussed at the last meeting, but they're still within the buffer zone, and also the property owner would like them just removed entirely from the property, that one pile.
Okay.
So I'm still just waiting for them to actually get out there and get that done. I believe they're going to be out there this coming weekend,
Okay.
so I'll go out there this following Monday.
And if they do, great. If they don't, then we will have to maybe consider interference.
Yeah, I'm gonna
with
send a letter or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. So we'll continue that to 1025.
Great.
And also Vinyl Street. If people don't mind, I'd like to defer action on the meeting minutes for September 27th.
Oh, I second that.
Me too.
Great work.
Okay. So, Michelle, I want to thank you for you really came through for us, and I'm grateful.
Yes, thank you,
Yeah,
Michelle.
thank you, Michelle. That's
And,
awesome.
No
hopefully
worries.
we can avoid this in the future. So, having said that, is there a motion?
I owed that guy.
I'm sorry.
Like I totally owed that guy. That's the only reason I came. So it's all good. I
Okay.
got through most of my dinner. So that's the good news.
I'm glad you
Great
did.
work.
I'm glad you did. Is there
Yeah.
a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, it's a vote. All right, everyone, thank you very much. We will see you on October 25th if we don't see you before.
Cool.